1. Your feelings come from interpretation. Not events. Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the same situation, yet respond completely differently? One person feels hurt or offended, while the other seems calm and unaffected. The difference doesn't usually come from the event itself. It comes from the meaning each person gives to it. For example, imagine you walk into a room and someone looks at you briefly and then frowns. Instantly, your mind might start creating a story. They don't like me, or I must have done something wrong. Yet the truth could be far simpler. Maybe they were thinking about something stressful in their own life. Maybe they weren't even looking at you at all. The feeling of discomfort or insecurity didn't come from their frown, came from the interpretation you attached to it. This is something ancient thinkers like the Stoics understood deeply. They said it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about those events. In modern terms, this means our emotions are shaped less by what happens and more by the lens through which we see it. When you start questioning your interpretations, you create room for clarity. Instead of reacting automatically, you can pause and ask, is this really about me? Or am I building a story that isn't true? That small shift gives you freedom. It turns everyday challenges into opportunities to understand yourself better. And it reminds you that you do have influence over how you feel by choosing how you interpret the world around you. 2. The power of the pause in daily life. Easy to feel like we have no choice but to react instantly to what happens around us. Someone speaks to us sharply, and we reply without thinking. The situation frustrates us, and we let the emotion take over. What? But there's always a small space between what happens and how we respond. That space is where our real strength lies. Imagine a situation where someone cuts you off while driving. The natural impulse might be to get upset, but if you take even a single breath before reacting, you give yourself a chance to choose a calmer response. That short pause is not about ignoring the event, it's about regaining clarity before acting. Philosophers like Aristotle reminded us that anyone can become angry. But choosing the right response at the right time requires thought. In modern terms, it means developing emotional intelligence. Pausing doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means allowing yourself to notice the feeling before deciding what to do with it. This practice is powerful because it shifts you from being controlled by impulses to being guided by awareness. Over time, the pause becomes a natural habit. Stressful moments lose some of their weight, and you begin to feel steadier. Even when life feels unpredictable, the pause is small, but the effect is large. It gives you the ability to act from clarity instead of compulsion. And that simple choice can transform not just how you handle challenges, but how peaceful you feel within yourself. 3. Protecting your energy, one of the most valuable lessons in life is learning that not everything deserves your attention. Our energy is limited, yet many of us spend it on arguments, comparisons, and distractions that add little to our well-being. Protecting your energy is not about avoiding life. It's about choosing wisely where to focus your attention. Think about the last time you became caught up in a small disagreement or a passing comment online. Hours later, you may have realized it wasn't as important as it felt in the moment. When we give too much space to these minor events, we drain ourselves of the energy we could use for things that truly matter: our health, our goals, and our relationships. This doesn't mean ignoring every challenge. It simply means asking, does this situation really deserve my energy? If the answer is no, it may be better to let it pass. By practicing this, you begin to notice how much lighter life feels. Ancient Stoic thinkers described calmness as a form of strength, understood that constantly reacting to everything around us creates unnecessary stress. Instead, choosing where to invest attention allows us to stay steady and focused. Protecting your energy also creates space for peace. The less time you spend caught up in noise, the more time you have to reflect, grow, and enjoy the present. Over time, this becomes less of a practice and more of a natural way of living, a way that supports both clarity and resilience. 4. Detachment as inner strength. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many people think it means not caring at all. But in reality, it is about caring in a healthier, wiser way. Detachment allows us to engage with life fully, while not being completely shaken by every outcome. It is the ability to observe without immediately absorbing the stress or tension around us, for example. When someone speaks with frustration, detachment allows you to notice their words without instantly taking them as a personal attack. You may still care about the situation, but you no longer let it control your peace of mind. In this way, detachment is not about distance, it's about stability. This inner steadiness is powerful. It helps you remain grounded, even when circumstances are uncertain. Life will always bring moments of change, disagreement, or challenge. If we become tied to every rise and fall, our sense of calm will constantly depend on outside events. Detachment gives us the strength to stay centered, regardless of what happens. Philosophers and spiritual teachers across cultures have emphasized this practice. They saw that freedom comes not from controlling the world, but from managing how we relate to it. By practicing detachment, we don't stop feeling. We simply give our feelings space to breathe, without letting them overwhelm us. Over time, detachment becomes a form of resilience. It allows you to act with clarity, respond with patience, and remain connected to life without being pulled off balance by every shift around. 5. Rewriting old patterns. Many of our daily reactions are not new. They are patterns we learned long ago, from childhood. We pick up habits of thinking and responding. For some, it may be overthinking when things go wrong. For others, it might be becoming defensive when criticized, or feeling anxious when plans change. These patterns are not our fault. They were shaped by past experiences. But as adults, we have the chance to notice them and gradually rewrite them. Rewriting old patterns begins with awareness. The next time you react strongly to a small situation, pause and ask yourself, is this reaction about the present moment, or is it an old habit repeating itself? Often, you'll find that the intensity of your response is less about now and more about past conditioning. Once you see the pattern, you can choose differently. Instead of defending yourself immediately, you might listen calmly. Instead of overthinking, you might remind yourself to return to what you can control. These small choices build new habits, and over time, the old reactions lose their power. This process takes patience. Change doesn't happen overnight, but every moment of awareness is progress. So the more you practice, the more freedom you gain. From automatic reactions, rewriting old patterns doesn't mean erasing the past. It means using it as a guide to grow. Each new choice becomes a step toward a calmer, steadier version of yourself, one that lives more in the present and less in the weight of yesterday.